Best card tricks on Penn and Teller. If you're a serious magician, there's only one place to go to get the ultimate seal of approval. Penn and Teller, Fool Us. The dynamic duo have been performing magic together for over 40 years, so they know every con under the sun. Most of the time, they can't be fooled, but on some rare occasions, a unique trick has them stumped. However, it's not all about if they're convinced or not. Sometimes they're incredibly impressed with the delivery and praise the contestants to the hit. Join us as we take a look at the best card tricks on Penn and Teller. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos about your favorite movies and TV shows. Shin Lim. Every now and then, a magician comes along that baffles both audiences and their colleagues alike. Boston-born Shin Lim gave up a career in music due to carpal tunnel, but didn't give up on a future in the entertainment industry. Lim appeared on Fool Us back in 2015, ready to wow Penn and Teller. The chiseled young man asked for two randomly selected members of the audience to join him while he did his thing with a pack of cards. After getting both ladies to pick and mark a card of their own from the deck, he mysteriously vanished the marker. After that, things just got crazier. With the help of a little smoke and fancifulness, one of the picked cards came out of Lim's mouth. As he made an entire deck vanish and reappear inside the empty pack, everyone watching was stumped. Did Penn and Teller know how they did it? The young magician got incredibly high praise from both parties, who called his act perfect. Lim has stayed pretty strong in the TV game, having recently taken part in 2018's America's Got Talent.
Okay, I want to say right up front, I hate you. Let's get that out of the way.
Kostya Kimlat. Kostya Kimlat turned up to the show all suited and booted, explaining that magic was exactly like business in his eyes. Usually at home performing at corporate events, the sleight of hand magic maker decided to up the stakes by inviting the two veterans on stage to aid, asking them to shuffle the deck together on a table. Getting two of magic's most prolific performers on stage could go terribly wrong, especially as the show is aimed at getting them to work out how you did it. Most thought that Kimlat was setting himself up for a fall, but he proved them wrong. Penn and Teller both picked out cards face up and then placed them back into the deck. In an incredible twist, when Kimlat put the cards back on the table, all the cards were facing the right way, except for the two cards the magicians picked. The pair returned to their seats as they discussed the ways in which the trick could have been pulled off. Penn was more than annoyed that he couldn't work it out, and Kimlat scooped up a trophy for being a fooler.
Then I'll give the cards a shuffle, and now that card is lost in the deck, right? Of course not! Use your head!
Penn and Teller. It wouldn't be a list of the greatest card tricks ever if it didn't include the two greatest magicians of all time, would it? Although most of the time Penn and Teller are there to judge the sleight of hand performed by others, they occasionally take to the stage themselves to show that they've still got what it takes to wow audiences. Penn asked one member of the audience to pick a card from the deck, which Teller then hid. After taking out $2 silver and sticking them to a piece of tape, Penn returned to the audience member and asked her if she believes the card was still in the deck. A bit of fancy showmanship and back and forth banter with the audience later, and Penn asks another woman to shuffle the cards. He then passes the deck to Teller, who is blindfolded. In a flash, the silent magician puts the knife seemingly through Penn's hand, which he raises to reveal the chosen card to a round of applause. It might not be the fanciest trick known to man, but it's still pretty darn good. And no one does showmanship like these two.
Since you were such a good sport and so pleasant, you can call me a sentimental old fool, but I'd like you to have this.
I always wanted to be a superhero. Actually, I still want to be a superhero.
John Armstrong. Comic book loving nerd John Armstrong likened his magic to the picture books, even creating one of his own about a magician. When he took to Penn and Teller's stage, he chose to show off his signature trick, the tiny plunger. Armstrong was no rookie, having performed as Disney World's resident magician when he was just 20 years old. You could say that he has magic running through his veins. He took a risky step by inviting Penn, Teller, and host Jonathan Ross to join him up on stage, but it paid off. Revealing his tiny suction cup, Armstrong confidently performed his trick, demonstrating the little plunger that could seemingly only pick up one card at a time. After giving the little instrument a pep talk, it picks up an entire deck of cards, much to Jonathan's amusement. But it doesn't stop there. As it turns out, the plunger could pick up a suggested amount of cards too, and scooped up the random number selected by the British host. When Penn picked a card out of the deck, the plunger was even able to split the deck and pick out that exact card. When it came to Teller's turn, the trick went off without a hitch once more, amazing all three at the table and the audience. Armstrong got a fantastic response from the pair, with Penn stating that it may be the most original card trick he's ever seen. He might have fooled the big guy, but he didn't fool the silent one. Nonetheless, what an awesome act.
Thank you so much, John Armstrong and his time. The other black seven, the black seven of spades.
Adam Shayer. When it comes to a deck of cards, there's only so much you can do, right? Wrong. Adam Shayer flipped the script when it comes to card tricks, proving that magic can still be new and exciting. Interestingly, Adam is the co-creator of everyone's favorite tech voice, Siri. In his VT, Adam explained that magic has always been his #1 interest, and programming simply fell in around that. In fact, one of the first programs he ever wrote was to solve a Rubik's Cube. Shayer may not have been the smoothest talking magician out there, his nerves were quite apparent, but it didn't stop him from impressing everyone. Penn and Teller joined him on stage as Adam presented them with a shuffled deck of cards. Teller picked 2 cards blindly, one for himself and one for his partner. The entire act was based around Siri, with Shayer acting as though the deck was a prototype of the speech recognition app. When he asked it questions, it provided the answer, even drawing out what color the cards were. Throughout the entire act, Adam's hands were visibly shaking. But you have to give it to this dude. He completely bossed it. The trick was pretty complex, but very impressive. Penn and Teller got their notepads out for this one, while Allison kept Adam talking. He didn't fool the guys, but they were still incredibly impressed with his work.
Siri, did we fool them? F-O-O-L, fool? And Siri says,
let's see if I can do it. Done.
Christian Engblom. Finnish contestant Christian Engblom was a veteran in the business, having started practicing tricks at the tender age of 3. He's known for inventing a special type of trick, but he took to the stage to debut a bit he had been perfecting for over 20 years. Christian was joined by 2 randomly selected members of the audience and swiftly took his cards out, ready to rumble. Both parties chose a card and kept it hidden from the trickster, who asked them to sign the face of the cards with their names. The cards were slipped back into the deck and were left in the hands of the assistant, who shuffled them up, but magically, Walter's card ended up in Engblom's back pocket. When it came to Stacy's card, it disappeared from the stack entirely and magically materialized in the breast pocket of the magician's shirt. The show-stopping moment came when both Engblom's breast pocket and his back pocket entirely disappeared. You'd be forgiven for thinking he's changed outfits, but he obviously didn't, so how the heck did this happen? Penn and Teller looked pretty amused throughout the skit, but did they know? While Allison thought the pair looked confused, Christian was pretty sure they could see straight through him. And while Penn admitted that they noticed a lot of stuff, they couldn't figure it all out, and the big finish took away the coveted trophy.
This to the entire pack.
Kelvin Shou. Hong Kong native Kelvin Shou has always been fascinated by street performers and could never understand how they did it. His obsession quickly grew and he started performing magic himself, while creating his own tricks to baffle audiences. If he could fool Penn and Teller, he said, then his wife might think what he's doing is actually worthwhile. All jokes aside, this guy was up there with the best. The trick started out with a magically appearing deck of cards from behind a piece of tissue paper, but they were all blank. Penn helps the performer out by answering a few simple questions, such as how many cards are in the stack. When asked what his favorite card was, Penn came up with a Jack of Clubs, and before you know it, with a quick shake of the hand, a blank card transforms into the Jack of Clubs. Both Penn and Teller clapped, wide-jawed. Sticking with the jacks, Shou spins another blank card in his hand. Slowly, a picture starts to grow into shape, and it is quickly a fully realized Jack of Spades. Needless to say, the audience lapped it up. In a show-stopping moment, Shou transforms the entire deck of blank cards into a normal deck. But he's not done there. Kelvin's act focused on using your imagination, and everyday folk like you and I wouldn't be able to figure out how he managed to pull it off, but Penn and Teller couldn't be that easily fooled. It was still a kick-butt trick that wowed viewers, though. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content, and don't forget to check out one of the other two videos on your screen.